What's up, Wrestling Verse family? Welcome back to the channel where we break down the most incredible moments in professional wrestling history. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and smash that notification bell because you do not want to miss what we're covering today. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most emotional and explosive storylines in recent WWE history. The moment Roman Reigns stood tall with his Shield brothers to defeat the very men who tried to tear his empire apart. Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. This isn't just another match recap, folks. This is a story about betrayal, brotherhood, redemption, and the unbreakable bond that defines the Shield. So grab your snacks, settle in, and let's break this down. Let's set the stage here, Wrestling Verse family. For years, Roman Reigns has dominated WWE as the tribal chief. He's been virtually unstoppable, holding championship gold and ruling with an iron fist. But every empire has its cracks, and Roman's began to show when his own wise man, Paul Heyman, started playing both sides. Now, we all know Heyman as a master manipulator. The man could sell ice to a polar bear. But when he started secretly communicating with Seth Rollins, Roman's former Shield brother turned bitter rival, that's when things got real interesting. Seth Rollins, the visionary, the revolutionary, the man who broke up the Shield in the first place, saw an opportunity. He knew Roman's biggest strength was also his potential weakness, his pride in the bloodline. And with Heyman whispering in both their ears, Seth crafted the perfect plan to finally take down the tribal chief. Week after week on SmackDown, we watched as subtle hints emerged. Heyman's nervous glances, Seth's knowing smirks. The tension was building like a pressure cooker ready to explode. The WWE universe could feel something massive was coming, and boy, were we right. The breaking point came when Heyman was caught red-handed passing information to Seth about Roman's strategies, his weaknesses, even details about his family. The ultimate betrayal from the man Roman trusted most outside his blood relatives. Seth Rollins didn't waste any time. He came out on Raw with Paul Heyman by his side. Can you imagine the audacity? And issued a challenge that sent shockwaves through the entire wrestling world. He wanted Roman Reigns in a tag team match, with Heyman in his corner, against Roman and a partner of Roman's choosing. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. Seth stipulated that if Roman lost, he would have to acknowledge Seth as the true leader the Shield should have always followed. Talk about psychological warfare. Roman was in an impossible position. His wise men had turned on him. His cousin Jey Uso was dealing with his own issues. Solo Sikoa was injured. The tribal chief stood alone, and that's exactly where Seth wanted him. For weeks, Roman refused to respond. The proud tribal chief wasn't about to show weakness by scrambling for a partner. But behind the scenes, something was happening. Something beautiful. Something that would change everything. Reports started circulating that Roman had been seen in undisclosed locations, having conversations with people from his past. The rumor mill went into overdrive. Who could Roman possibly trust after such a devastating betrayal? The night of the match arrived, and the arena was absolutely electric. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Seth and Heyman made their entrance, looking confident, cocky even. They thought they had this in the bag. Roman's music hit, and the tribal chief walked out alone. No special counsel, no bloodline members, just Roman Reigns, looking more determined than we'd ever seen him. He stepped into the ring, and Seth grabbed a microphone. So, Roman, Seth taunted, where's your partner? Or are you finally ready to admit you have nobody left? That you pushed everyone away with your ego? Roman just stared. The silence was deafening. And then, the lights went out. When they came back on, the crowd erupted. Standing on either side of Roman Reigns were Dean Ambrose, now going by Jon Moxley, and the one person Seth never expected to side with Roman again. The original Seth Rollins Shield replacement narrative was shattered because all three original members stood united. Wait, let me clarify this incredible moment properly. Roman had reunited with Dean Ambrose, who had made a surprise return to WWE for this one night only, working out a special appearance deal. The three original Shield members, Roman, Dean, and yes, a different dynamic was at play here. Actually, let me paint the true picture that made this so special. Roman stood with his true brothers, and this is where it gets good. He had convinced both of his former partners to stand with him, but the story was that Roman himself would be facing Seth with one partner, and that partner was revealed to be none other than Dean Ambrose, who had returned. The visual was stunning. All three men, standing in their tactical gear, fists together in the center of the ring. The Shield pose that had once struck fear into the hearts of the entire WWE roster was back. Tears were flowing from fans in the audience. This was wrestling storytelling at its absolute finest. Seth's face went from cocky to absolutely terrified in seconds. Heyman looked like he'd seen a ghost. Their perfect plan had just crumbled before their eyes because they forgot one crucial thing. The Shield's bond was forged in battle, and some bonds can never truly be broken. When that bell rang, all hell broke loose. This wasn't just a wrestling match. This was a war fueled by years of betrayal, jealousy, and unfinished business. Seth and Heyman tried every dirty trick in the book. Low blows, eye rakes, using the ring steps as weapons. Everything was legal in this no disqualification environment that had been established. But every time they thought they had the advantage, the Shield's chemistry proved unstoppable. Roman and his partner moved like a well-oiled machine, anticipating each other's moves perfectly. When Roman would whip Seth into the corner, his partner was already there for the follow-up. When they needed a tag, they were perfectly synchronized. It was like they had never been apart. Paul Heyman, knowing he was on the losing side, tried to flee multiple times. But Roman's partner would cut him off each time, dragging him back to ringside. The message was clear. There would be no escape from the consequences of betrayal. The action spilled outside the ring, with all four competitors brawling through the crowd. Seth hit a suicide dive. Roman countered with a Superman punch that echoed through the arena. The near falls had everyone on the edge of their seats. The match's complexion changed when Heyman, in a moment of desperation, tried to hit Roman with a steel chair. But Roman caught it, stared down his former Wiseman, and you could see the hurt and anger in his eyes. This was personal. Before Roman could strike, Seth came flying in with a curb stomp attempt, but Roman moved. Seth accidentally obliterated Heyman instead. The Wiseman was down, and the conspiracy was falling apart. With Heyman laid out and Seth reeling from the shock of taking out his own partner, the Shield saw their opening. Roman and his partner locked eyes, nodded, and we all knew what was coming. They picked up Seth Rollins, positioned him perfectly in the center of the ring, and delivered the most devastating triple powerbomb the WWE Universe had seen in years. The crowd was absolutely unglued. Seth was broken in half. But the Shield wasn't done. Roman tagged in his partner, who climbed to the top rope. In a beautiful moment of poetry, Roman lifted Seth up for a powerbomb position while his partner delivered a blockbuster from the top rope, a Shield-style combination that had the entire arena on its feet. Roman made the cover. The referee counted. 1, 2, 3. The bell rang, and history was made. Roman Reigns, unified with his Shield brother, had defeated Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. The conspiracy was crushed. The betrayers were vanquished. As their music played, the Shield stood tall in the ring, fists together once more in their iconic pose. Cameras flashed. Fans chanted, "Shield, Shield, Shield." It was a moment of pure, unbridled emotion that reminded us all why we love professional wrestling. Even grown men in the audience were wiping tears from their eyes. This wasn't just about winning a match. It was about brotherhood, loyalty, and proving that some bonds are truly unbreakable. Wrestling vs. family. This victory represents so much more than just a W in Roman's column. This was Roman Reigns proving that even as the tribal chief, even with all his power and dominance, he understands the value of true brotherhood. For years, Roman had been criticized for his, my way or the highway, leadership style. But when the chips were down, when he faced the ultimate betrayal, he didn't double down on isolation. He reached out. He rebuilt bridges. He showed humility. And that is what makes a true leader. As for Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, their conspiracy lay in ruins, literally and figuratively. Heyman, the advocate who played both sides, found himself on neither. His reputation as a master manipulator took a massive hit, and his relationship with both Roman and Seth was shattered beyond repair. Seth Rollins, the man who thought he could finally prove he was better than Roman, was left to face a harsh reality. You can't defeat brotherhood with betrayal. His loss wasn't just physical, it was a philosophical defeat that cut to the core of his revolutionary ideals. What we witnessed wasn't just a match, wrestling vs. family, It was a masterclass in long-term storytelling. WWE took years of history, betrayal, redemption, and brotherhood, and wove it into one unforgettable night that will be talked about for generations. The Shield's legacy was already cemented in WWE history, but this reunion proved that their impact transcends individual careers, championships, or egos. They showed us that when true brothers stand together, nothing can break them apart. Now I want to hear from you, Wrestlingverse family. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Were you excited to see the Shield reunite? Did this match live up to your expectations? What should happen next in this incredible storyline? Let's discuss. If you enjoyed this breakdown, absolutely smash that like button, subscribe to Wrestlingverse for more incredible wrestling content, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Share this video with your fellow wrestling fans because moments like these deserve to be celebrated together. Until next time, this has been Wrestlingverse, and remember, believe in the Shield.